Hello, everybody, and welcome to UVMtv. We are sitting in right now with two lovely ladies from the Office of the Attorney General at the Consumer Assistance Program. Welcome to the show. Could you give a quick introduction of who you are and what exactly it is you do at the Center for, what was the acronym again? Consumer Assistance Program. CAP.
I'm Molly. I am a student, and I was an intern here at CAP, and I've just been here for a few months.
Awesome. My name is Catherine Pfefferly, and I'm a supervisor here at the Consumer Assistance Program. I started as a student when I was also at the University of Vermont in January of 2018, and then through working as an internship, going into a full-time position, and now supervising the practicum, it has been a great, full-rounded experience about CAP.
It's incredible, and we'll cut out these little passes. Awesome. So tell me more about the CAP program. When did it get started, and what kind of service does it provide to Vermonters?
So here at the Consumer Assistance Program, we're a partnership with the University of Vermont as well as the Attorney General's office. We've been around for about 30 years, but what's really exciting about CAP is the fact that we're many things to many people. So not only do we at CAP encourage assisting consumers with complaints, educating the public on frauds, scams, problems that Vermonters are experiencing. We're also the eyes and ears of the constituent service branch of the Attorney General's office. And what that means is students, especially students in the CAP class, they have the opportunity to not only deal with real problems in real time with constituents in the state, they are also identifying consumer trends so that when we do speak with the Attorney General's office and they ask us, what's going on? We know. And we know every single day. And that works in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, if I was to say in like a short sentence what we do here, I think it would be partially informing and like protecting consumers against scams, and then partially mediating disputes with businesses, and most of all just trying to keep people's personal and financial information safe from people who might want to use it in a bad way.
So I guess for a quick civics lessons, what is the Attorney General's office, and where does it kind of fit into the structure of the Vermont government?
So the Attorney General is the chief law enforcement officer in the state, and the Consumer Assistance Program kind of acts as the best way for constituents to reach out to that office. So that's basically where we are. We're in the executive branch, and we do what we said before. We work with consumers to try and get their issues heard and know what's going on in the state.
You've talked about UVM's partnership with the Attorney General's office. Could you just talk more about that partnership and how that came about and what kind of opportunities the Attorney General's office has for UVM students who might be interested in political science or pre-law or something along those lines?
I personally am a political science student. I know a lot of the times the students that come into CAP aren't always poli-sci. I think they come from a good background. CAP is not part of the College of Arts and Sciences. It's, what's the name of the college we're in?
It's part of the College of Agricultural and Life Sciences.
Agricultural and Life Sciences, which is, yeah, I know. It was a surprise. You want to do that?
Yeah. So I graduated from UVM in 2018, and it actually wasn't until I was a senior that I realized within CDAE, Community Development and Applied Economics, that's in CALS, they have this great partnership, as I mentioned before, and that's the Consumer Assistance Program. But primarily how it came about was about 32 years ago, and it was from an AAG who recognized that there is a definite need to leverage resources for consumers, for the everyday person, just like students, elders, people across the state, who they can connect to, who's going to listen to them, who's going to assist them, and who's going to navigate them in the right way. What's hard is not many people understand how to navigate local, state, and federal law. And when you have a place where people pick up the phone, people are excited, people are interested, that's staffed by UVM students.
I've been going to the University of Vermont for 4 years, and that is the first time I've ever heard anybody explain the acronym of CDAE. Learning all kinds of acronyms today.
What CAP is it's students showing up to work, getting in touch with the consumers and the everyday issues that are occurring, whether we're in the winter and we find out somebody's propane went out, whether we found out a student gave their W-2 to a fake scam, and it's about a job opportunity that doesn't exist. How can we help you navigate that concern, get you to the right people, and get a result that works? And with CAP, and since we have the ability to have this class, it's in one of the 15 mandatory classes for CDAE, and you can take it any semester. It's open both in the fall and the spring. And it's actually staffed and run by the Attorney General himself, as well as the Chief of Staff, Charity Clark. And she's a 1997 UVM grad herself. And what's very, very unique, I'd say, about CAP is not only do we have an attorney in the office who's a senior AG who helps us out, the AG himself comes here, the Chief of Staff comes here themselves, and they show you how essential being a part of CAP is to the constituent services that are available from the Attorney General's office. So it's a fun partnership with a lot of opportunity to do an internship over the summer. That's what Molly did last year, or like myself, who was a student in January 2018 and into a full-time internship, and then eventually became employed by the University of Vermont in the Attorney General's office to continue the practicum after me. So there's a lot of ways people can be involved with CAP, even if they're not a CDAE major. And that's something that we're definitely trying to get the word about.
What are some common scams or frauds that you find targeted at them? I know that I always see a bunch of job offers in my mailbox, and I'm like, you're offering me a job? That sounds a bit fishy. That's what usually tips me off. So what are some things that students in particular should be looking out for?
That's definitely a big one, the email scams of job offers. A lot of the times, those scams are looking for either your personal information, like send me your W-2, and then they have a lot of information about you that you don't really want scammers to have. Or some other times, those type of things are pay-to-work type of scams, where they'll say, you're hired, here's a really lucrative job opportunity. I just need you to send me $50 for a lab fee or $50 for some equipment that you'll need for this job, and then you send them money and they're gone. So that's one of the scams we see a lot. We also see scams from people claiming to be from police services. And a lot of the times they'll say things like, you have received a citation for, sometimes it's drugs or alcohol in the dorms. Sometimes it's like very random things. And people will just pay that fine over the phone to these scammers because it's a scary call to get. So they won't always think it through. And then beyond just scams, we also can assist people with landlord-tenant issues because a lot of the times people who are going to UVM, they've never rented an apartment before. This is their first time living independently entirely, so they may not understand like what their rights are as consumers, as tenants. They may not understand what their landlord has to provide to them and, what the landlord's obligations are. And then I guess finally another one we get a lot about is purchasing a vehicle. Because like the apartments, people often at this age in their life haven't purchased a vehicle before, so they might not understand the laws around it. They might not understand what an as-is car is. They may not understand like lemon law and like all of the little parts about buying a car that really add up and can lead to fishy situations at the very least. So those are the ones we see a lot with students. We get also a lot of calls from all the constituents in Vermont, but with students, those are the most common ones we see.
What's important is that if you're ever feeling pressure or that sense of urgency or that's a good deal, it's going to go away, I have to do it now, those types of, we call it red flags, those types of red flags are really when you need to say, okay, where'd this come from? I entered the situation not feeling I have to do this right this second. When you get that kind of emotional response, it could be challenging to walk away. And what at CAP we like to do when we get these types of calls is just empower everyday consumers, students, elders to have better information so they can make a decision that they perhaps won't regret later. And it's very important here at CAP to ensure that we are providing the right information. So especially if you're buying a used car and you need to take a step back, you can always call CAP. There are people here who can assist, and if we do need to take a look a step further, we'll ask for a complaint or continue from there.
But what exactly qualifies as a scam under the letter of the law? And are there certain things that might be unethical but aren't quite, prosecutable or we wouldn't have standing in court to address.
So it is hard to define a scam because there are so many different types of them. But in general, a scam is usually just using deceitful language or flat out lying to people in an attempt to get their either money from them or their financial or personal information. So it's lying to people to manipulate and take advantage of them in a way where they would do something that they often wouldn't do if they were given the actual truthful understanding of what was going on.
So even if it's unethical or it raises those kind of red flags in a consumer's head, best thing that we say is do call the office. Because a lot of the times what we do at CAP, and the reason why CAP exists, it's to see what's in conflict with consumer protection. Anybody can be a consumer. Small businesses are consumers in the state of Vermont. So if there is a problem that something feels off but you don't know what, usually there is something off. And a great example of that is when people get calls about payday loans. Payday loans is a huge one here in the state of Vermont, as well as when people hear about debt consolidation scams that won't affect your credit. That's another huge red flag. And definitely call CAP if you're getting either of those. So it all comes down to providing the information to the right resource, and we're usually that resource.
So if our viewers encounter a scam, what should they do?
You're probably tired of hearing this, but as we've said before, just call us. It's entirely free. We're here every day, every weekday from 8:30 to 4. We can take your call and we can let you know if it's something we've heard about before. And if it hasn't, we can research it for you because this is something that your state government is providing for you. So you might as well take advantage of a resource that is already available because we'll do the work for you. We'll reach out to the businesses. We'll do the research for you. And I think it's very helpful to have. I have friends who have gone through the CAP mediation process and either gotten refunds or have had information given to them. And it's something that they didn't even know they had the opportunity to look into.
Put the number on the screen, like right there in post. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Before we go, one more just burning question that I've had. Pineapple on pizza, is it a scam?
I wouldn't say it was a scam as much as it was a crime against humanity.
If it's Leonardo's Hawaiian pizza with bacon and broccoli, heck yeah.
Oh, shout out Leonardo's, one of our sponsors. All right. Well, thank you, ladies, so much. This has been a great time. And just thank you for all the work that you do on behalf of Vermont consumers.
Absolutely.